Shan and Tam fam, welcome to the Real Talk podcast. On this podcast, we talk about real issues. We talk about parenting, love, family, friendships, and everything in between.
It is our hope that you will journey with us through some critical conversations. We would like for you to drop us a comment, to share the conversation, and to let us know what you would like to see us talk about on Real Talk. So welcome back, Shan and Tam fam. It has been a while. Lots have been happening with Tam and I, just personal life. My own self, I had an interesting summer, but just giving God thanks that I'm here and just trying to heal, right? Heal physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. So we're happy to be back with you here today. And a few weeks ago, I was on my Facebook page and I came across one of my classmates that I was in high school with so many years ago, Georgia Hamm. Back then it wasn't Ham, it was something else. But she is a Mrs. now, but I am not necessarily talking about her as a Mrs. Today. Georgia had such a powerful story about her journey, but I think what captivated me to the video as well was just her positivity and what she was talking about. She was talking about her journey with PCOS. And we're going to open up the discussion, but I think it was her positivity that drew me to the video. In spite of what she was going through, she had such a smile and an energy and a positive vibe about it. I was like, no, sir, we have to talk to Georgia. So we reached out to her and she said she was open to connect with Tam and I. So we're welcoming you on the platform, Georgia. Welcome you just to hear a little bit about your story and your journey with PCOS. So welcome.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the platform and the stage to continue speaking about this topic.
Absolutely. So Georgia, we just want you to open to tell us a little bit, what exactly is PCOS and how has it affected you?
Okay, well, PCOS is polycystic ovarian syndrome. So P for polycystic, C, ovarian syndrome. So it's basically it has many names. Some people call it hormonal imbalance. It basically affects your hormones as a woman, causing you to have several different kind of situations, including infertility, brain fog, anxiety, not having proper periods, irregular periods, and a whole stuff other things, cardiovascular diseases, the possibility for diabetes, because it's an insulin resistant disease. So it's a whole host of things, and once it's affecting your endocrine system, which is your hormones, then it affects other organs as well and causes other situations to happen. Some have it easy, some have it harder, and it just affects quite a lot of women in our society today. Yeah.
Okay. So how did you know that you had it, Georgia? Is it that, because I know in one of your clip you spoke about being married and trying and how long that was taking, and we're gonna get into a little bit more. People can just, the things and the questions that they ask are just so inappropriate. But did you realize that you had this after you got married and when you and your husband were trying for a baby, or it was something that occurred before?
Well, the truth is I first heard about the disease when I was doing my internship as a medical technologist, and I was not feeling well. The truth is, before that, I kept having a period that was lasting way too long and was extremely heavy. And I was at work doing my internship in the histology department with somebody that you should know too, one of our classmates' mom.
Who is that?
She was the chief, the Giselle Harrison's mom.
Yes.
Auntie Sharon. Yes, yes. So she was my chief tech at the time while I was doing the internship at histology. So I was there and I wasn't feeling well and I almost passed out and she
Oh
suggested after talking
man.
to me that she would take me to the staff clinic. So she came with me, walked with me there, and got me through the process. And it was actually at that time, I can't really pinpoint the age, but it was at that time that I first heard about this thing called PCOS. They did some ultrasounds,
Mm,
they some tests for hormones, and after the test came back and the ultrasound came back, the doctor, he told me at the time that I didn't have, because one of the significant things with PCOS is that some persons, they have the ovaries that are cystic. They have a lot of cysts in your ovaries, and they call it the
mm,
ring. So it's the ovaries that is just full of with a lot of cysts looking like a ring of pearls. So he said that that didn't exist, but the hormones were out of whack,
mm-hmm,
and it suggested PCOS, and they would have to do some further tests. And that's when he started telling me about the things I could possibly have, and infertility was one of them. So it was
mm.
actually at that time that I learned about it, and of course that was very devastating to me. Um, you know, just how it was put,
Of
the
course,
doom,
because the news just sound detrimental, right?
the doom and gloom of it all, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, that was not something I expected to hear at the time. Before that, yes, I was having the same issue with the period. Sometimes it would come, sometimes it wouldn't come, sometimes it came long. But the
Yes.
other doctor that I was seeing never mentioned that. He just had me on what do you call that now? Um birth controls to regulate
The
the
period.
right, the period, so that it would come, properly. But I didn't like how they were making me feel, and I stopped
Mm,
taking them. And then, at that time it got worse. But the good thing about it is I was there at the hospital at the time, and Auntie Sharon could have taken me to staff clinic for me to really have gotten,
mm-hmm,
bottom
mm-hmm,
to the bottom of the problem.
mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
that's really where it started.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
Georgia, how did you handle that diagnosis? Because it sounds like just your description of all the possible complications around it,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot. How did you handle it? And, how are you dealing with it today? I know I've seen your video, and you, like Shan said, you have such positive energy and you've spoken so openly, about some of the challenges around it. But I'm curious to know, how does one deal with something like that?
Well, it's not a really easy road. I can tell you, on that very day, I couldn't do anything more. I think I left early. I came home. Actually, I stopped at Mother's and I bought a sundae because that's normally what I do. So I bought a sundae, and when I came home with the sundae, mommy was like, "What happened?" Because from I come home with that,
Listen, I'm right there with you because ice cream makes everything better in life. I hear
I
you.
know.
I know, right? So when I came home with the sundae now, and I was telling her, I was actually in tears, and she said to me, Munji, because that's what she called me. She said to me, Munji, listen, doctors
Mm,
can't determine your end, okay? This is in the hand of God. So let's not
yes.
worry about it too much. Let's not make us depressed. God's got it. If you are supposed to have a child, if you're supposed to whatever, He'll work it out and all of that.
Mm,
So the truth is, at that time, I went through the day. I ate my ice cream. Me and my mom, we talked, and then I just kind of really put it behind me. To be honest, I didn't pay attention to it much. They
yes.
wanted to put me on metformin at the time. I told them no because I didn't understand the point. And at the time, there wasn't a lot of people that was really doing any investigation into PCOS, so they didn't have the answers either. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? So you telling me that I needed to go on metformin? I am a medical technology student. I know what metformin is. I don't want to go on metformin for a reason. No, they couldn't
Yeah.
give me a proper explanation. So I didn't go on it, and I just went on living life normally. I was good
Mhm.
until I got married. And then
Mm-hmm.
no.
Mhm.
Then the trying and the trying and the
Yeah.
trying and being married for so long and just trying and not being able to. And then, the reality came all the way back that,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, remember, there's that little thing that you have, let's address it now. But
Okay.
it's been pretty difficult back then, when we started the journey of trying to get pregnant. It was very difficult. No, it's not so difficult. I have a good community.
Mm-hmm.
I have understanding parents. My husband is very understanding and very
Mhm.
patient. So, with that kind of support, it's a lot easier to manage than,
Right.
Yes.
yeah.
Because it's interesting too how as women, and I know Tam and I, we have different platforms, even with one of our book club, the book club. We have a book club that we gather with a few women as well to Georgia. It's so interesting how the concept of motherhood is so much connected to our identity as women,
Yeah.
to the
Mm-hmm.
fact that if we don't have children or we don't want to have children
Yeah.
for whatever reason, how society views you, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I think sometimes, and I hear you, I feel your pain and stuff like that, right? That whole concept of mothering and wanting to be a mother, right? And the fact that if you're struggling or if you can, how society can make you feel less than, right? Because I know in one of your videos, in your video as well, you spoke about some of the intrusive questions people ask
And
without even
insensitive.
knowing,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
yes,
without even
yes,
knowing your story and your history and how that has impacted you as well too.
yes. One of the issues that I've always had when I was growing up was body image. And a lot of my friends will tell you that Georgia is extremely confident, but it took a lot of work for me to
Mm,
get there. And at the time, I didn't understand why I was putting on so much weight, because it's not like I was doing anything so severely different. But
yeah,
this disease, it causes you to just rapidly put on
gain weight.
weight. It doesn't
Mm,
matter what you eat or don't eat, you will keep it on, you'll take it off. And I went through that difficulty. Persons would say, "Oh, I found this picture of you some time back. You put on a whole heap of weighty."
God
They
stuff.
even bring the picture, come and
Mm.
show you, see you here, and you put
why
on too
people that have
much
no
weight.
sensitivity, eh?
I know.
I know, right?
Like I was living my life. Well, yeah, like I was
Yeah.
in that life. You think I don't know that? Yes.
Mhm.
Exactly. I, I
Mhm.
I I honestly remember saying to one person that, "Listen, I'm the one that stands in the mirror every
Mm,
single day though. I'm the one that's seeing and knowing. You don't need to highlight it. And then you'd have the ones you're married now. So as you're married, you're supposed to have a kid. So then they're like, you're not giving your husband a child, what's happening? It's been 2 years, it's been 3 years. I'm like, hold on there.
like you don't know that though.
We are well aware.
Exactly. Like you don't know.
But God is so good. I'm telling you, having a support system is really the best thing, because there's a lot of times that persons have really, made me so sad, with
Mhm.
their
Mm,
with their questions and the statements that they make without thinking. And
mhm.
you know,
Right.
we in Jamaica especially, we tend to have, even people that don't know you, we tend to have persons that would just comment on your body because they have the right and
Yeah.
not,
Mhm.
you know, So it's been rough, but
Mm,
we make it together as a unit, my husband and I
mm,
have grown to really have a thick skin and be extremely confident. I
mhm.
believe I am extremely beautiful, and believe in that, you know yourself and you are you. makes a world of
Yes.
a difference to silence the outside crowd. So,
That's
Mm-hmm.
awesome.
um,
I love
yeah.
that, Georgia.
Real talk.
Real talk.
Love
You
that.
you mentioned your support system, Georgia. So, can you talk to us about like what type of support they have in Jamaica? Is there like, are there groups? Like, what is the what is there for you medically? Do you find that they're making any headway in terms of learning how to treat this condition or, solve the issues around it? And is there any connection with other people who have the same
Mm-hmm.
condition?
Well, at first when I was going through, because there was a time that I had a little bout of depression and suicidal thoughts, which we can discuss later. But
Mm-hmm.
I was looking for a system in this country where I would be able to, have some support. And at the time, I couldn't find it. There was one site that was on Facebook, PCOS
Mm.
JA, that existed at the time, but it was very dormant.
Okay.
No one was, reporting on it. You had very few posts. In terms of the community, I changed several gynae doctors for like course of maybe 5, 6 years thereabout. I would go to one. They would tell me, "Oh, you just need to lose the weight. It's just the weight." And you know, some of
Mm.
them had some really insensitive comments until I found my very good doctor, Dr. Neely, know that she knows about the disease, and she has been very supportive and just very kind, and her
Oh,
demeanor has
wow.
been one that has really helped. And it's just unfortunate that some persons will go to some doctors that really are very insensitive. They tell you just lose the
Yeah.
weight, just lose the weight, and everything, will be fine. They just need to lose the weight. And it's more than that. You
It's
understand? It
more than
really is
that.
more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. But the support here, it wasn't so great. But I think now there is a team, PCOS 1 in 10 JA. I found them recently, and they have been doing the best that they can to get the word out there. It's a group of, I think there's a doctor involved. They help you to learn about, yoga practices that are simple and easy that you can do at home, nutrition facts, liaison with organizations abroad. So they've been doing quite a bit of stuff. It's actually for that company or that campaign that I did the video for. And I think they're
Mm.
doing they're doing a lot of stuff to really get the word out there and really get persons involved. But most of my support in the initial beginning actually came from Facebook groups abroad. I went on Facebook, found several of them that I was able to join, and there were a lot of women across the world in those
Mm-hmm.
groups that were going through severely very trying things, and it made my infertility look like nothing, because
Oh,
when you
wow.
hear of
Wow.
persons that have to be lying down on the floor trying to use the coldness to alleviate the pain of the cysts that are
Wow.
Oh, wow.
know, killing their ovaries and stuff like that, or people that actually got pregnant but have lost 10 and 11
Wow.
pregnancies. It
Yes,
just,
that's
it
a
just,
lot.
it, yeah, it makes you see that, you are a part of something. There are other people there, and together we
Right.
can support each other, and encourage each other that way. So that was really the PCOS groups that helped me. And of course, my family, and I have a very good unit of friends that I call the Vesper group that pray
Oh,
for me. They pray for me very often, and they have been really supportive. So that's really
Wow.
my support system. Yes.
That
But
is awesome,
I
Georgia.
do believe we can do a lot more though in
Mm-hmm.
Jamaica for
Mm-hmm.
PCOS. I really do.
I know, especially regarding the medical support as well too, right? And groups and stuff. Right. I think that's definitely it's a big piece. And I know you
Yeah.
spoke a little bit about your even journey with anxiety and depression and suicidal thoughts. Did this come around because of PCOS and your journey with struggling with having a child? Did that come about because of that?
I think it's a combination of several things because the truth is that actually came up when my husband and I we got married in 2016, and I
Mm.
took ill 2 weeks later with an unexplainable illness that today um I have no definition for. It happened just the other day in May, as a matter of fact, and they can't give me any reason as to why I keep having breathing problems that just come up just out of the blue,
Oh wow.
and I
And this
have
was
to
two
get.
weeks after you got married?
Yes, this was 2 weeks after.
Oh
So
wow.
I was out of working my overtime, which is where I make most of my money, for months because I actually never went back to work. I got married in February 2016, the 21st. So I never ended up going back to work until September. And even when I went to work, I couldn't work emergency duty. So we were losing money in that retrospect. Um, you
Mm.
know, just newly married, still having bills, trying to make life. So there was
Yes.
that financial issue. Then, of course, when I had the issue with the breathing problems, they were doing several tests, so the whole PCOS thing came back up, and I had to, go to different doctors and stuff to try to figure out what was really happening. So there were medical bills that were piling up. And then on top of that, no, I was told that based on my AMH results, I needed to try to have a child quickly because my ovarian reserves were non existent. And so we were doing that. We were spending money to do that and trying to have a child. So it was actually a couple of things: financial, the strain of getting up every day, feeling like you're pregnant, because there were some times that I felt like I was, and then I had like this box of um is a mix of ovulation and the pregnancy test. So
Mm.
I would check my ovulation often, do everything that they tell you, check this, check that, and then to think, okay, my period didn't come, maybe this is the time, and then you do the test, and then it was negative, and then just think about constantly getting all that negative, negative,
Negative.
negative,
Yeah,
negative.
that's
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, so it,
Mm-hmm.
it, it, it everything was just kind of really piling up. And what actually took place was that I was trying to mitigate the funds of trying to get pregnant because that costs money, because this is PCOS now. So you have to do a little bit more than just the regular thing that you would do with your husband or significant other or whatever.
Right.
So you'd have to spend the money to get certain things to help you along
Mm.
the process. So it was in that interim when I went to a bank trying to mitigate the finances, and them telling me, which was the last bank I could go to, and them telling me, boy, we can't help. And actually, it was outside of that bank that I broke down into utter pieces. So I just kind of I was on the phone with my husband. I just started crying. He was miles away at the time.
Oh
And
wow.
there's this, I remember this lady, she was there and she took the phone from me and she was talking to him, but I was just on the floor in just shells. And then after that,
Wow.
there was like this darkness.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to describe it. It just complete and utter darkness just
Mm-hmm.
came
Mm-hmm.
on me. And
Mm.
I remember my husband coming for me. I remember the same lady saying, whatever it is, it will get better, it will get better. But it's like everything was just whispers in the darkness, to be
Right.
honest.
Yeah.
I
Right.
completely shut down. So it was several things that caused it. It was
Yeah.
financial.
Right.
It was not being able to get pregnant. It
Mm-hmm.
was just a lot of things that just really came down, just came crashing down right at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just in darkness, and that was it. I had no idea how to see the light.
Mm-hmm.
And that went on for quite a while. I just kept getting worse and worse and worse until I remember saying to him that, I was done. I am
Yeah.
done, you know. I think, this should be it. So I made the plan. I made the whole plan of what I was going to do,
Oh, wow.
how I was going to end it. And I decided that, enough was enough. He could find somebody that could make him happier, that could actually give him a child, that, you know, that would just be it. Everybody would be
Mhm.
fine. I would leave my notes. I would this. I planned the whole thing down to a T, you know. But God is good.
Wow.
God is good indeed.
How
Yeah.
do you come back from that dark place? What was it
Ah,
that transformed you, or
Mm. To
who
pull you
helped
out.
you? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
all right. So when I remember we were going somewhere at the time, and I mentioned the Vespa group. And let me tell you how awesome God is.
Yeah.
The Vespa group started out just out of the blue. We went to a retreat with the young people, and we just felt this connection, and we decided that we were going to start this Vespa group. So we were having Friday night Vespas, and during the time, when I was going through my difficulties, I was pretending to be happy. So there's a song that says, smile, make them think you're happy, lie and say that things are fine. That was
Mm.
right. But
Mm-hmm.
it's one thing when people know you, you can't pretend.
Mm-hmm. How they see
My
right through you.
Exactly. So my husband
Mm-hmm.
and I know we were going somewhere, and I don't know. I just decided to tell him that I don't think I want to be here anymore. And
Mm.
he stopped the car and he was like, "What?" I said, "I don't think I want to be here anymore." And he said to me, if I think that that would make everything better. And I said, "I don't know, but I'm just done." So that was the first time I uttered those words. I don't know if it was my self consciousness trying to cry out to somebody. I don't know. But
Mm-hmm.
we went to Vesper Group the Friday after.
Mm-hmm.
My friends, they were singing some songs, and everybody was just trying to encourage me and stuff like that, even without knowing what was happening. But they just knew that something was not 100%. And I just decided at the time to say the same thing that I said to him to them. And
Mm-hmm.
everything stopped, and everybody looked at me, and they were saying that they knew something was wrong, they knew something was wrong. And they were like, let's pray about it. Let's pray about it. And my friend, she raised the song, Blessed Assurance, Jesus is mine. And
Mm.
they kept singing Blessed Assurance, Jesus is mine. And
Hmm.
we prayed, and they prayed, and I was in tears, and I started to tell him exactly what took place. And it was
Yes.
really, that was the first breakthrough. I don't I'm not sure like what exactly prompted me to say something, because the
Mhm.
truth is I had already made the decision.
Oh,
I was
Okay.
wow.
But I just think that the Lord, he has always been protecting me all of my life.
Mm.
Right.
I just think he just kept impressing on me in my mind, just say whatever it is
Mm-hmm.
that you have. So if you're done at this moment, just say you're
That
done.
you're done. Yeah, don't pretend.
And that's
you
the
know and
catalyst to
and
change
that
everything.
Mm-hmm.
exactly, and that's what I did. And to be honest, at the time too, because my parents, they didn't know, but my mom, she has always had this sense of I don't know. It's like she just always know that something is wrong. So even though she as well, she didn't know the extent of the story. I
Yes.
learned this. I learned this afterwards, that she said she and daddy got up every single morning, and they kept lifting me up in prayer, lifting me up in
Mm.
prayer, lifting me.
Oh,
They
wow.
weren't sure exactly what it was, but mommy said she knew something was so wrong.
Oh,
And
wow.
despite the fact that she didn't know, they just decided
They
that they were
just
going to lift me
pray.
up in prayer, lift me up in prayer. So I just feel like all of that, all of these
Mm-hmm.
praying people,
Yes.
Mm-hmm. The power of prayer.
really, yes,
And that's the
man,
thing,
they
because you see,
really
the
did it.
moment you decide to become intimate and pray, things
Yeah,
started breaking, and
Shifting.
you had the space to be vulnerable,
yeah,
right? So that
so,
that is amazing, and that speaks to the power community as well, too, that you
yeah,
speak about so much,
yeah, 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 yeah.
right? So who is Georgia Ham now? Like today?
Well, Georgia Hamm is a very vibrant, creative young lady that
Amen.
loves God
Yes,
and that
Amen.
is just living her best life.
I love it. I
That's
love it.
awesome.
That's who I am right now. I am telling you, I have reached to a point where I highly doubt that there's anything right now that anybody could specifically say to really hurt my feelings because
Mm,
I use music as a coping mechanism. And
mm-hmm.
one of my mantras now is Tasha Cobb's song that says, "You're going to get the glory out of this." That is my
Yes.
song. That is my song. When she wrote that song, she probably thought she wrote that song for herself. She wrote that song for me. And that has been my mantra. That
Yes.
whole
You're
song
gonna
just
get the glory
pushing
out
me.
of this.
God is going to get the glory. I don't need to understand. God, I trust your
Mm-hmm.
plan. So trust me, I am doing well. Are we still trying to have a child? Yeah, right, to some extent. But
Mhm.
to be honest, I just believe that if God is saying that I'm supposed to have a child, I will have a child. He
Mm.
knows what's the right thing, what's the right time. You
Yes.
understand? So you really gotta trust this plan, and that's what I'm doing. So I am really living my best life right now, just prayed up. I have a saying where I put up on my status of that says current mood, prayed up and unbothered.
I'm
I
going to
like that.
steal that.
Hashtag prayed up and
And
unbothered.
unbothered. I love it.
Love it. Love it.
Real talk.
Real talk. And we
Georgia,
really
you're a
see that
breath of fresh
energy.
air.
Yes.
Yes, you
Yeah.
are a breath of fresh air, and thank you so much for creating the space for Tam and I to connect with you this evening. And I know that the listeners are going to want to hear more from you. And thank you for sharing a piece of your journey and your
Yeah.
story with us.
Yes.
As I said, you unbothered and prayed up and
Mhm.
positivity. That's what I'm getting, even sitting here with you in the few minutes talking with you. So thank you so much.
You're welcome so much. My pleasure. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, you never know who your story is going to reach, whose
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
life it is going to change. Because like you said before, when you came across those other groups, when you thought your situation was bad, like there are so many other people too that are, have their different level of suffering, and you never know who you're going to be an encouragement to,
Yeah.
Georgia, because trust me, your spirit just it just flows through. When I saw that video, when Shan introduced me to it, I'm like, yes, we have to talk to her. I love her energy,
Mm-hmm.
and we just want to say thank you for giving us the time.
Yes, no problem. You guys are welcome. I believe that with every test,
Mm-hmm.
you must have a testimony, and therefore my testimony can be a blessing to somebody else. So I have taken up the mantle to share this story. I've shared it on many occasions because I know that there are a lot of people out there suffering from
Yes.
a lot of things. And if my test that has given me this testimony can
Mm-hmm.
be a blessing to somebody else, why keep it to myself? So it really was a
Awesome.
privilege to be here with you guys, to reconnect.
Yes, it's been so many years.
So many years.
I know it's been so many years, Georgia, but we're giving God thanks.
We are indeed. We are.
Nice. Thank you so much. Tab, you want to just shout out the platforms that we can be found on?
For sure. So thanks again, fam, for tuning in, listening. And we hope that, today's conversation has been such a candid one. We hope that it has resonated with you in some way. So, as you know, we can be found on Spotify, iHeartRadio podcast, and the Spreaker website and app. It's Real Talk with Shan and Tam. Follow us on our Facebook page, Real Talk with Shan and Tam, and also on Instagram, Sisters Shan and Tam. And don't miss an episode. Welcome back, fam.
Yes.
Thank you for coming back on the journey with us, and we will catch up with you next time. Walk good, everyone.
Bye.
Don't forget to visit Shan and Tam on all their social media websites. At Sisters Shan and Tam on Instagram, Shan Tam Lodge-Lee on Facebook, and check out their blogs at shanandtam.blogspot.com. Tune in again next time on Real Talk.